Hey everyone, we're just getting set up here with Build It in Figma, my very own live stream on building things in Figma. Uh, just want to test audio levels. I'm always kind of tweaking this setup, so you never know what I've messed up. But also, everybody say hi. Who are you? Who do you work for? What are you making? Why do you use Figma? Why are you interested in Figma? Audio's good. Thanks, Kali. Appreciate it. I'm just gonna sit around here aimlessly for about 2 more minutes. Just let everyone come on in, just drift on in. It's gonna be a nice little peaceful stream. Hopefully we'll have some fun too. Hey there, the Marine from Texas, but also from Florida. Good to have you from both places, Untitled. Hello to Australia over there. Raja, very similar to my name, Rogie. Hi Indonesia, how you doing way over there? And Max, Germany, nice. Haley from Seattle, come on in. Water's warm. Oh, Sophia, you loved my cocktail recipe stream. I pushed that app just a little bit further. I'm about ready to hit publish, but I just want to make sure I have all the little nuggets and the goodies in there. It was a sizable project to take on in 3 hours. Hey Nelson from Brazil, how's it going? How's Brazil this time of year? Welcome in everybody. We're almost ready to get started. I'm just flipping through some music, trying to feel the vibe, trying to get into it. Verna, sorry to hear that over there. I'm glad that you are safe though. Absolutely, FL Wedemeyer. This is Cordio. We've been playing Dennis Cortez music. He's a designer, but he goes by, his musical alias is Cordio. Very, very cool. Let me see here if I can find it for you while we're just wrapping up this. You can check out all of Dennis' fine music. He's allowed me to use it on my stream. You can check it all out here at this URL. Here's our music. Sebastian, hey there NYC, how's it going? Santos, Dominican Republic, good to have you. All right, I think it's about time that we jump in. It's that time of day. It's build it time. I need like a little tagline where I'm like, let's build it. No, that sounds like let's wreck it. Well, I'm just gonna, as usual, all my live streams are pretty candid. You're free to interrupt, but don't interrupt so much to where we can't actually make anything, but definitely ask questions so I can clarify. Also, since I talk a lot, I will be drinking a lot of water on stream. But I just wanted to say it's a little bit candid. I never really know exactly how I'm gonna attack a project. I never really know what inspiration I'm gonna get. We're literally coming up with ideas out of thin air. Not literally, but we're coming up with ideas out of thin air. Who else uses literally like that? I swear every time somebody uses the phrase literal, it's never literal. Good to have Vancouver in. I'm glad that you, Santos, glad that you're in love with Figma. I happen to be as well. Jason, how's it going from Boston? Jacqueline from Montreal. Good to see people chatting, getting the chatter up. I like that. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what I am up to. Actually, like I said, I mess around with the stream every once in a while. It's good. All right, we're doing good. All right, so the basic idea, and I'm gonna have a portion of the show, so hold on tight. I'm gonna have a portion of the show where I am gonna try to get some ideas from you and get some voting from you. This will kind of simulate like a team setting, but not perfectly. Just because normally in a team setting, I think I would give you all edit access and you would be slapping around ideas and creating things and dropping in your own inspiration, which would be awesome. Maybe I will feel so impulsive as to do that. All right, so anyways, I just started it off by the basic idea of, okay, we're going to design something that's pretty common. It's a book app, and basically it's like a bookshelf app. We're going to hopefully put the books that you have, maybe the books that you're reading. We're not going to go so far into this as going into like the highlights or anything like that. This is not an audiobook app. This is just going to be a book app for like essentially social discovery of good books, with the limitation of and the requirement of it's a designer app, because guess what, we're designers, so let's design this for ourselves. So we're going to be designing a book app that catalogs your design books. Hopefully you can have friends. If you don't, hopefully you can make friends through this app. And so I think a lot of us do this as designers, just kind of slap ideas. I need to get these creative juices flowing and running. And so what I'm trying to do here is just say, like, how have other people done this? Now, I did something kind of unique on this one. I'm actually, you can see here, I created a big text area with the new links. And now each time I collect a bit of inspiration, I can actually, and when I publish this file, people will be able to see, oh, this came from a dribble shot. I can get more context there. I thought that was kind of cool. Rather than just ripping things. A lot of these apps might actually be fictitious apps, so, beware, but at the same time, there's still decent fodder for just trying to understand things. Just things that I'm slapping around for some inspiration. Here's maybe, I don't know exactly what the context of this is, maybe a book, best, I don't know, but like, it's a book detail in some kind of listing view. Here's the book in its big art, all glorious, and like apparently it's like an audiobook thing. You can buy it. I thought this looked kind of cool. I liked the really dark UI. I kind of thought what would be really exciting on this stream would be like, this would be the first time that we've done this unprecedented. We would do a dark light mode switcher, but I'll go ahead and actually go here, and I'm just gonna do this, duplicate this little area and put dark light mode, because I know our designers are on screens all the time. So if this app was for you, wouldn't you want a dark light mode? I would want a dark light mode. All right, back to inspiration. All right, so here's some other, I don't know, I threw this down. This is like another example of fictitious UI of this stuff coming out of the screen, more illustrative marketing type UI. I don't know, I think maybe I kind of liked the, the little drawer that came out here. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows what I was thinking? It was the afternoon. I was low on coffee. I thought this was kind of interesting. Just this nav, this is just inspiration. I love the simplicity of the icons. I loved the big, huge, like, not the hit state necessarily, but the selected state. Like, I really know what that is. I know what's selected. And these, I guess, are an example of 3 different selected states. Here's one with a line underneath it. Here's another one with like a little gloopity boop. I don't know what we're going to call that, but we're going to call it a gloopity boop. It's just where it looks like somehow this got a little whoop in it. And that's the selected state. And this one, of course, is sort of like just the rounded rect. And then these here as well, and I have them linked. I think you can actually see this once I share the file with view access to you, so you can go link off to them. That's what I was hoping. Wow, I read open. I said hoping. I said hopening. That's great. Okay, so I really liked these icons here. I don't remember who did this. I think it was an Andreas something, but we can always open the link and check that out. All the attributions in there. So anyways, these are so cute. Yeah, they're so cute. Now, this may not be the aesthetic for us, because Kali just called them cute. I don't know if a designer would like to be associated with being cute. Basrira, if I'm saying that, I probably butchered your name. I'm very sorry. Welcome from Indonesia. Noodle Carry, yes, it's the famous directional bloop. And if we can get a bloop in, and bloopies are our style, then we're in. I really do like just sort of like this non-standard, I don't know, it looks like these are kind of bulging, these icons. They are cute. They may not be our aesthetic. I don't think that the color is our inspiration here. So if I were really designing in here, I might actually put something like some notes on here, and I would put something like line work, like, let me really zoom in. Sorry about that. I forget that you're watching too. Line work, not colors per se. I would probably put a little bit more clarity on this. Maybe I would put something like this. This is an inspiration. And why is it an inspiration? Simplicity of icons. and also maybe the bloop. Love the bloop. All right. And then this, I don't know if we're gonna steer clear of that. What do we like about this one? Maybe I like just like potential dark mode. Like that. All right. Now this one has a video attached to it, so you can all check that out once you get in the file. I'm gonna go ahead and drop links to the file. Now, it's view access, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give you this. You can start looking at what I'm looking at. I know designers work best by actually doing and not by me just telling you what to do. So here's that file, hop on in. Okay, so one thing that I love about Figma is that I can do this. This is amazing. This ability to share with a team, or share just with, if you're a small team, to share with a bunch of folks that are just checking things out, maybe giving some feedback. That's exactly what I'm going to demonstrate with you now. I love this. Now, of course, I don't love, and I love you all, but I don't necessarily love, as I'm trying to design, all these cursors up in my face. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn off multiplayer cursors. Ah, the piece. Ah, the piece. Okay. There were some other things. Russ Meir has some amazing things here. You can see his little link right here. And in fact, I'm just going to show the linking feature. Look at this. All I have to do is that, and then just link it. Boom, slam that link in. And then if I hover it in the dock, it'll say open link. Russ Meir has some cool things. This is his own UI style, kind of reminiscent of iOS, mostly iOS-ish. But I really liked some of the cleanliness of his design, so I have these in here for inspiration as well. Trey Jones says, does anyone else end up with project name V10 by the end of it? Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay, this is another thing I liked here, just talking about inspiration. And I'm going to go ahead and get some crowdsourcing right now. This menu screen, I kind of like the little, I've always loved this about UI, is like when you reveal another part of the UI, it's like, oh, this is still over here. Like it's like an affordance. So this is the main screen, and this screen moves over and reveals the menu. And I love that. I don't know why, I've always been a sucker for it, just because it feels like I can tap this, but it also feels like I can tap this. I don't need to search for an X button or a drag down button or anything. I'm like, oh, that's just right there. I'll grab that and bring that back. I didn't mean to go there. I like that. Let's hope we can bring in something like that. Now, jumping in more into some mood and aesthetic, I did link a GIF in here. One little tip I wanted to give you is that if you have a GIF in here ever, you'll notice it'll say fill GIF, as opposed to this one says, well, this one says fill GIF as well. Okay, all right. This one says fill image. So instead of having to go into prototype mode by clicking present, I don't have to do that. All I have to do is just go boop and just click that little GIF, and then I can just play it and see what it's all about. Now it's a smaller little viewport, and hopefully we can resize this window one day, but you can kind of get an idea of what's going on there. I really liked some of the animations there, but most definitely I really liked this. I really felt like this kind of harsh black, white, grayscale kind of look was really, I was really feeling this. I was really feeling these fonts, something a little bit more, I don't know, artistic. So here's where I need some help with. We're in the ideation phase of this project. We're in the wireframing phase of this project. But before we wireframe, I'd really like to be able to figure out what it is that we're actually making. Strange, who knew? The other thing, just to give you a little idea of the anatomy of these pages, in my Figma doc, I threw a bunch of books that a bunch of designers said, we love these. These are some fodder for us to throw into the app. These will be some images that we can style, put into the app, and see how the app looks with real content. We'll probably have to go look for, previews or reviews or whatever. But we do have some stuff just to get us started. I didn't want to be doing this all on live stream, mostly because I care for you and I care for the time that you spend. So let's go on over, if you would all go on over to the requirements area. I want to demonstrate something that we can do with the team. to kind of get ideas to gauge, I figured, now normally I would go out and I would try to figure out my audience, who I'm actually designing this for, interview them. Luckily, I'm building a design app, like a design book app for designers. And so you're my target audience, which is great. So here's our feature ideas. Now I've just written them all down here, like maybe we can add our book, maybe we can do categories. What I'd like you to be able to do is, if you have any suggestions, go ahead and tell me them in the chat for maybe features or things that you would want within this app, things that this app should do. And then the next thing I'd like you to do, if you don't have any ideas necessarily, but you think like dark light mode is needed, I have to have that. Come on over here, grab that little comment bubble, boom. I'm gonna plant one here, and I'm gonna just put a vote here. And if you don't see one, just go ahead and start a bubble there and just be like, I want this. So I'm gonna go ahead and put here, I want this. Yes, yeah, or we can just simple thumbs up, whatever, boom. Let's go ahead and get some comments pouring in. I'm gonna go ahead and share that link out once again. Let's get some feedback here. I do try to bring in a interactive portion of this whole experience anytime I do a stream, just because I think Figma's technology is super special because it allows for collaboration. It's not like this asynchronous, it's like synchronous communication. And it's one of the reasons that I love the app. It's one of the reasons that I work here. So I would love to get some feedback. You are my target audience. What are the things that you want in an app that would catalog great design books for you? Trey Jones has NSFW books. Well, most of all of these books here in my book are design porn. So done, covered. Look at this, look at these shapes, beautiful. We're already covered there. All right, any other ideas? I'll slap them in here. Let's just look at these comments. Let's see. Oh, look at this. And I love this. I love that people are popping in. What do we got here? Yes, yes. Okay, add my book. Yeah, seems like, and it definitely seems like a needed feature. The cool thing about this is I can sort of gauge, I can gauge how many people are voting for each thing. Now, a really cool exercise, if I give you edit access in your team, would be to create maybe a little element on the screen here. And so let's just see if I can get an emoji. I remember actually when Figma did not have emojis, and I was very sad. Okay, so take this, I'm gonna go hit K. Oops, let's hit K to go into scale mode. Not K in there, I'm gonna just scale that guy right there. And this pattern I've seen a lot, you end up creating this into be a little component like this. And then if I give you edit access, as you might give to your whole team, what you would do is just say, hey, go ahead and copy this. And then what you would see is it's like essentially dot voting here. Each designer or PM would come in here and maybe change this to their own color. And as soon as they did that, then you would kind of get an indication of who did what. And so you would see these like little thumbs up all globbed on one. So you get a visual representation without having to dive into the comments. And I think that's a really, really great way of working. But for now, y'all are just on view, so we're doing it this way. All right, so Carol likes that. Let's see, dark light. I'm the only one that wants that. Good to know, good to know. Francesca wants that, okay. Yes, okay, what do we got down here? Oh, this is a good way to communicate. All right, I personally love a borrow from local library feature. You can get a list of near, ooh, with that. All right, so let's put that in there. That's a really good one. I'm gonna duplicate this. Borrow from local library. Great idea, great idea. One thing that maybe you did know or maybe you did not know about this. One thing that I hesitated on is once I put a new item in there, it actually shifted all of it because they're not framed, so the comment was not attached to it. That's okay. I'm gonna move this over here. See this little comment here? I'm just gonna move it up to there so it's associated with that. All right, let's go back to comment mode. I think you can just go back as well by pressing C. So I should be much smarter in doing that. All right. See what we got here. All right. Yeah, add to reading list. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is reorganize these. I'm going to go like this. This is going to be an ordered one. This is going to be an order of priority. All right, then we're going to go back to comments. All right. See what else we got. We're getting a bunch in. I'm just going to assume that these bubbles mean yes. Yes, this would be nice. The friend's friend feed is really important. Search is important. So let's go ahead and just start doing this. I'm just going to start dragging these here. Well, we need this. We know we need this. We know that this add to reading list was really important. It got a bunch of votes. Let's see what the books I own. Let's see if that's important. Yeah, people like that. There's a couple votes on that. So we're gonna go ahead and just drag that over. I could also just use my arrow keys because it's in an auto layout container. All right, we're back at it. Ratings and comments are really important. Yeah, that seems so. All right, so this seems like borrow local library was in there. Great. All right, let's see how good that, let's see how the friends feed did. Yeah, we got 2. All right, we'll bring that in. All right, here we go here. All right, that seems to be good enough. Thank you everyone for jumping in. If you're ever at a place where you have all of these crazy, all of these comments, oftentimes the way that I would use comments in Figma is that I would associate them with like questions around design. So do you think this should be here? Does this look good? You can get check off through that. And so the way that I would then process those comments is, looks like dark light mode. Everybody started getting, thank you. That's a personal vote for me. And I know you did it to be nice, but I really appreciate it. Okay. So let's say that we say these were like, hey, make sure that you knock out the wish list. We could then come in here and then boom, click resolve. This is the way that I typically use comments, not necessarily for this dot voting kind of a thing. Dot voting I would normally do in this kind of a thing with my team. All right, so we're good. These are our features. These are what we're gonna do. So let's get started on this. Noodle Carry says, that's a lot. Are you gonna design all these features? I bit off way too much last time, and I wanna just show what I built last time, and I never got to the end of it. I mean, I think I was working on this on the weekend, because I was like, I gotta get it done. So if I could show off just kind of what we ended up building, hopefully we can simplify it. I'm gonna really depend on all of you to help me simplify this. But I built this like a login screen, and then here's like a selected state, and then just some interaction for like what happens when you input, okay, disabled button. All right, here's my drinks. We didn't really do an onboarding experience or anything like that. I did end up creating these cool little slotted cards kind of to deal with the aesthetic. The other thing that I actually figured out, which was so cool, is that when you do this navigation here, when you go from tab to tab, you can see that the little arrow moves on the left and right. And we smart animated that, but I went back and I did it better. I just want to give you a little peek under the hood there. All right, so let's go into the prototype on this. What I ended up doing was, let me see, did I put it here? Yeah, so I smart animated it. This one goes to here. I actually created a component right here, component that's local to this one page. And so what this does is it smart animates. I just rigged up this line here, this noodle, and then this one goes to the account page, and then this one goes to the explore page. So when I create an instance of this here, all of those connections are carried over, which makes it so much easier. Mind blown. When I first saw that, I was like, why am I so dumb? But the other thing that's important about this is normally to do some kind of locational change like that, where this arrow goes from one area to the next, is that you have to like detach this component, and it can't be a component, and you have to represent the 3 different states. But Rogie, how did you do this? You might ask. Well, thank you for asking. The way that I did this was this. So I used a little hack. I don't call it a hack, I call it me being smart. But basically in this master component, you can see this here. So you can see, let me see if I can find this little, let's get in real close just to be friendly to y'all that are on smaller devices and whatnot. So this is the selected state. And if I go into the design mode, check this out. See this padding here on the auto layout? This is one thing, ding ding, this is one thing that you can actually animate with Smart Animate, is one of those auto layout things. So check this out. Now it's left and right padding, and I know you all may be saying, Rogie, feature request, I want independent left and right. Yes, we've heard that feature request. The team knows, I agree with you. I'm over here with you. But notice all you have to do is just pad that out there, and I can just go pixel by pixel there, and boom, move it over there. So that's exactly what I did. If you'll notice right on over here, I just came down to this little fella, and I put in 124. Smart Animate now works. Boom, and you can see that it works everywhere, and I'm delighted. I'm delighted about that. I'm not done with the app either, but I'm delighted. Okay, thank you all for going down there. This, yes, big brain move. I learned it from somebody else who probably learned it from somebody else. It's a good little trick though. Doesn't work for everything though. Oh yeah, so it's cool. Oh, and then I forgot to show you I can't even say it right. I can't even say it. Okay, I fire myself. Something about the coolest part about the app. That's what I meant to say. So I started working on this. This idea that you can drag this. I don't like the blur effect. I always do this to myself. I blur affected it. I don't like it. But I do really like this sort of this drag away. It's a little slow. Not very performant. So I don't really like that drag, but I did that. I also rigged up a little bit of this like heart thing. So, I had some fun. Hopefully we can have as much fun, if not more, here. See, I can't even say it. Bruno, piste de resistance. My brain is broken, so I'm really glad that you're going to be on stream with me as I use this broken brain to teach you things and show you things. Bruno, you are a lifesaver. Thank you for teaching me how to say words. And if anyone doesn't know Bruno, he is a great Figma designer, but also a great Figma community member, and he helps us. He selflessly helps. So it's very cool. Very cool. All right, so here's what we're gonna attempt to build. We're sort of just getting some ideas now. We need to be able to add a book. I am going to go ahead and skip like login screen. I don't think we really need that. So let's just list out a list of requirements here. What kind of screens might we need for this? I'm telling you right now, I don't know why, but my brain is broken. Okay, so what would we need? And we're just gonna call them screens here, mostly because I'm very old and it just feels cool to say that word. So screens, we're gonna like no login screen. We're not doing that. Y'all know what a login screen looks like. We've designed like 800 of them, so you don't need to design more. All right, so we're gonna need like a My Books, right? We're gonna probably need that, My Books. Okay, we're gonna need some kind of like a, maybe it starts, what if this app started with just like no pre-add, like what if this started with just your friends? And you didn't have, it was all crowdsourced library. So like you added your book and then all of a sudden you added your friends. So like, I think in order to do that without preloading the library, what we would need to do is have your own books. You need to add a book. So this is My Books. We can call this My Bookshelf. Okay, add a book. And then we're definitely gonna need like a friend ability, right? Like the ability to like connect accounts or my friends. Connecting accounts seems like that's a lot of steps. Maybe we'll just have my friends and assume that you have friends. We're gonna try to design out the more interesting parts of this. Yeah, your book club. I like the name, book club. It's a great name. All right, so you have my friends. And then we need like, I don't think, this isn't like a collector's list. You're not like, check out my glorious books. Look at all my fine books. Like, I don't think that's what this is about. This is about learning, discovery. So we're gonna need a discovery mechanism in there. So I'm thinking some kind of suggested books or maybe friends' books they're reading. So let's skip suggested and just be like a friend feed. And then you need like a you feed, right? Like an ability to say like, I read this book. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and say I read this book. We'll just put this in like, this is like maybe just an action, so like an overlay or an action or something. I don't think you need like a whole, I read this book. I read this book, rating, like a rating of it. Friend feed will need to be an actual like screen. My friends probably needs to be some kind of a screen. Add a book probably needs to be like an action or an overlay of some kind. And my books is probably a screen. All right, can you think of anything else that we might be missing here? I'm gonna skip over account details. That's all like, I don't know. We're not, this is a fictitious app, so we're not necessarily gonna go through those things. Noodle Carry says broken. Friend feed could be a part, I think I'm actually a little bit parched. Friend feed could be a part of the book club screen to condense it. That's good, yep. So curious about that friend feed then. Would we show a feed of all the friends' actions? Maybe we split it up like my friends, and then you could just see what my friends are doing? Maybe so. Cool. We'll get rid of this book club real quick. Okay. Just gonna make these bold so I can see them better. Okay. Sharing highlights, books extract between friends. Yeah, that would be nice. A lot of these design books, what I'm noticing is that there's a lot of visuals in them and not all of them are audiobooks. So I'm really wondering whether or not we need to just sort of do away with the concepts of it being an audiobook or it even being like a digital book. But give me some feedback here. Maybe digital books are just fine. And then as you read it, you'd have to be able to read through it in the app and then share something. Maybe there's a mechanism to share from, say, Audible or whatever it is that you're on. Maybe it's Amazon Kindle, and then you just share a quote to it, and then it works. So I think you read this book. Maybe it's like a mark this book as read, so you can rate it, share a quote or something, because I think that's really a good thing. I love that idea of like, I don't finish all books, but a lot of times I'll get significantly through them, and it doesn't mean that they don't actually help me. So maybe it's just like share a quote. So maybe it's like, maybe it's more like this, post about a book. So you can rate it, you can share a quote, maybe you can say, read it, blah, blah, blah. All right. Noodle Carry says, left bar of my friends, similar to Discord, then the friend feed could just be a carousel of books they're reading. Huh, that's interesting. You could just look at your, like peek your friend's bookshelf. So maybe you need the idea of my friend's bookshelf and a feed. Yeah, you need your books and a feed as well. All right. I think we have enough. Yeah, thank you, Kali, for just reminding me. Okay, so I did a special thing for us today. We're gonna go ahead and I'm using Sidecar with my iPad. So I'm using Mac OS. I don't know what the equivalents would be. I think that you could just use Chrome or any browser if you have an iPad and you're using a Windows machine. But OS X has this ability to like extend your monitor, and I just went ahead and did that because it was easier. Luckily, Figma has live editing in, so it'll just work no matter what. I could load this up on a browser, across the yard over there, and it'd be fine. I could be working on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my iPad. And so with my iPad, I wanna go ahead and I'm just gonna adjust a few things here. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this with the pencil tool, not the pen tool. And I wanna go ahead and start wireframing these out. Now, my buddy Tom Lowry, who's also a designer advocate, has always said he loves using this tool because so often we'll look at wireframes and those wireframes are pretty polished and they don't scream, I'm just a wireframe. Sometimes people don't know when they look at your mockups. They may be like, what stage is it in? Is this a rough? Because they don't want to insult you. So using a sketch or using just the pencil tool in Figma, it's so much easier to be able to just communicate, hey, this is work in progress. This is not final. This is a rough. There's just something about this low fidelity thing that works out so great. So we're gonna go ahead and just work through this. So, all right, so I'm just gonna start laying down some lines. Hey, look at that, it's working. All right, and I'm just getting rough, and I'm using my Apple Pencil here. I have no idea what size I'm creating this, but we're gonna need a navigation. I think most importantly, you're gonna need like a My Books, right? So let's just put a little book icon here, and we'll just point to this and say, you can see my beautiful handwriting, My Books. All right. So the books, maybe it is a grid. We don't know. Maybe it's a list with titles, but for now we'll just do this. Maybe it's just something like this. I love the speed at which I can just bust these out. Maybe adding a book is a big thing. So maybe we do need like an add in the center. I'm not sure how big that is, but we're just gonna have that here, add a book. Okay. And I can see that my design family is in there with me. So no big deal. I'm just going to go ahead and turn off multiplayer cursors and then go back to show hide UI. Okay, the next thing I might think is, and you can go ahead and plant comments in here. That would be great. And then I can kind of parse those on my computer over here. And I'll go ahead and show comments there. So if you've got ideas in those wireframes, let's go ahead and do that. So we've got our books. It's a listing of books. We've got an icon to get there. What else will we need? I think we're going to need some kind of friends. Look at these little guys. They're friends. Okay, and this is going to be like my friends. Maybe this is the right way to do this. I'm not sure, but we're just throwing out some ideas here. Maybe a discover of some sort. But right now, here's the weird thing, is that I don't think we're gonna actually, if we build this in such a way that it's crowdsourced, like how would you discover? Well, maybe there is a discover with your friends. The more I think about it, the more I think that potentially a structure could be something like this. So maybe we've got a couple of areas, like you have the feed, which is like what everyone is doing, what everyone's reading. That's like Twitter, and it's just going to be like a buddy, and it's like, it's awesome. And then like some kind of a star rating system here, like this was an amazing book. And this is just the feed going on here. And maybe, who knows what we'll do here, but we'll just make a little icon for that that's kind of reminiscent of that. Maybe that's really, really powerful. Just to open this thing up so you can discover new books. Yeah, I kind of like that. What do we think of that? All right, so maybe the idea of the feed being first and then just your books. So if we just put the books right in the middle, you could have a long press maybe to bring up and add a book. So we can put this idea down, like maybe long press to add, or a menu item or something. Okay, and then let's just say you're on the books area. This is my very rudimentary book, and this is my feed. Maybe the empty state for this area would say like, add some books. And maybe there's some micro copy here that's like, that's something about like to show your friends. Because like, if you're using this app, what's the point of even using this app? I guess if you're just sort of like somebody that wants to catalog your books and that's it, but that's not really the point of this app. The point of this app is to share knowledge about what you're reading, not to box it in your head, to share it, and then to allow other people to share with you. And so I think that this here, this feed being the priority, is really a good, a good priority as that first item. And the feed is kind of your home, because really it's all about growing and growth and learning, and not so much about saying, hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. Look at my books. I just, like, how boring is that? Like, we're in the social web now, and we really want to, like, share things that we're doing. All right, so that makes sense here. We've got the feed. Okay, so I have some thoughts on this, and maybe you can plant some comments on here. What about the friends area? Does there need to be a friends area? Or like, is the feed, I remember that great suggestion uh, of the feed being like the friends could be there. So maybe the feed in its empty state would say something like, here, let me think about this. Like, we'll put here, empty. For the empty state, it could be something like, share your progress, or add friends. Man, I'm sloppy with this. Okay, so the idea, I can read it. Okay, so the empty state here, the idea would be like, share your progress or add friends to see what they're reading. So it could be all combined in one. I want to know some feedback on that. I want to know if that seems like it makes sense, or if it's smarter to just be like, add friends. I mean, onboarding, we can always take care of some of the friends, but they need to always be able to add another friend or share. Yeah, so Bruno says to simplify the feed, and I think for the stream's sake, it's probably a really good idea. So we might just want to go ahead and try to tackle that. This nav could be extremely minimal. I guess we're going to need some kind of ability, like an overflow menu. Well, actually, not really, but like an account menu of some kind, because no matter what, you've got to be able to like personalize something. So let's just say, there's your little account neuter. Doctor's calligraphy. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what we've got for feedback on this. I'm gonna go ahead and switch right back on over to my main Figma view now that I've kind of scrawled some thoughts out. All right, and let's look at the comments here and see what people have to say. Book of the day or month as a hero? Not bad, not bad. I really like that. All right. Well, I feel like I've gone far enough in this to really get a sense for the simplicity of this, and I think that I don't need to be so lo-fi moving on. Yes, thank you for all the amazing comments on my calligraphy. I know, it's very good. Okay, so I always love doing this. I'm not sure about all designers, but I love jumping into like and inspiring myself, because a lot of times I don't get excited about something until I start like seeing it shape together, seeing it come together. And so for me, I really want to start like creating iPhone frames, and I want to start creating navs, and I want to start creating icons and getting the idea of what it looks like. So let's go back to our aesthetic. Now, I really love visual design, so I think that's what really gets me excited about it. But I know that not all y'all do. So we created some simple wireframes. In those wireframes, we can see that we're going to have some empty states. We're going to have a feed. We're going to really focus on the feed first. We're also going to have some kind of a bookshelf. Question, should it be skeuomorphic or not? I can take this stream in a couple of different ways. My first thought would be is designing these little icons to kind of get the base nav, because it kind of all hinges around that nav. So I wanted to get that nav in place first. Somebody said no to skeuomorphism. Hey now. Okay. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead, I guess, since we're not getting a lot of suggestions here. We are not doing neumorphism. So, okay. I'm thinking maybe slightly skeuomorphic. Let me see if I can give an example of what I'm looking at here. Like, all right, let's see if there's something on the Figma community. Do you have like a little book with an overlay? No, not really. I don't think we'll have much here under mobile apps for books, but The idea being that we would be very ever so slightly, like we're talking barely skeuomorphic. Let's go ahead and give a quick example of what that could look like. What we'll do here is we'll grab a book. Now, one thing I haven't figured out here is like, how the heck do I represent all these different books with all these different sizes? Like, here's the elements of typographic style. It's all tall and skinny. Like, do we just center it? Wow, this is going to be a rough thing to do. Let's just go ahead and give a demonstration of what this could look like. I'm talking, like just little effects to simulate a book. Please do not scream out in pain or terror, or please do not say insulting things during this segment as I demonstrate what this could look like. A lot of people, here's a little hint, a lot of people wonder like, how do I get this perfectly in the 50% mark? You can just take it to the left, hold shift, and move it on over. And then I'll go in like perfect increments. So you can do that if you would like. All right, let's just do this. We're gonna go, all right. You probably know exactly what I'm doing. I know. You're very smart. Up, let's move this here. I'm gonna zoom in here and just try to get this little dip. And I think I messed with this sucker. Did I do linear? I did linear. But I definitely, I messed with my rotational value. So fun. All right, I got it back. All right, and of course I could like subdue this and do something like that. Now, a little bit of effects here. Now, Dimitro, just to answer some questions, I'm gonna go back. Dimitro, how are you using the Apple Pencil in Figma? I'm using it on my iPad. In this situation, I'm actually using it on, using Sidecar. And so that's OS X built in. Essentially, you can extend your monitor as a third monitor. So I can straight up drag that Figma window right in. The other hint too is that I'm using the Figma desktop app. So what I did is I hit Command-Shift-N to open up a new desktop window, which I can do, and then drag that on over into my iPad. I believe that you could also do this through Chrome. So if you just use Chrome and then load up, just sign into Figma and then go to your recent docs and load in your actual doc. I believe you could do it that way too. Okay, let's see what else we've got for questions. All right. A lot of people talking about morphism, skeuomorphism. A lot of people talking about aqua buttons. We're not going to do the aqua buttons. All right. A lot of really cool ideas. Eat some knowledge today, and after, share your food as an adding CTA. Oh, just like consuming this. Yes. All right. All right. So anyway, we could do something. I'm not seeing a tremendous amount of love for this. We could make this look pretty interesting. I will not focus on this portion here of coming up with a more skeuomorphic kind of look, just because I feel like this may not work out so great. Great, Bruno. You can do this on Windows with Duet. Yeah, there's some software that allows you to cast to a device like that and use it as another monitor, another external monitor. I would love to know your experience of actually loading this thing up in Figma on, say, Chrome for iPad and seeing how that works. I did try loading it up on Safari, and it was not very kind to me at all. So, just to let you know. All right, let's start messing around. All right. All right, I'm really liking this. I'm really liking the harsh like the fact that these overlay menus potentially could be like stark contrast with the actual content. So I'm thinking black and white, if we can shoot for it, an entirely black and white design with color flips. So with a dark mode that will end up flipping it around. I love that. I think that's going to be super cool. It'll also put the focus on the, I think that CTAs and anything like that are going to be pretty easy. They'll stand out very well as overlays will stand out very well, like we said, pop-ups of any kind that we make, as well as I think that it's going to put the the focus on the book and the users, which is really what I'd like this app to be about. So let's just go ahead and start making, I'm not gonna do the thing last time where I actually created components separately. For a small project like this, I'm gonna go ahead and just create an app page. I'm gonna go ahead and just open up my frames here, pull out the phone here, and we'll go Pro. Yep, we'll do that. And then we'll go ahead and start creating some buttons for this. Now we can borrow from projects that we had before. We can actually publish things as a library. I could bring in other components that I have. One thing that I always love throwing people to on the community, we have an amazing designer named Rusmir, and I've talked about him before, and he does this brainstorming UI kit. I'm gonna go ahead and share this thing right here. I've used this twice for stream, but go ahead and check it out. He's got a ton of things in here, and this is the deceiving part about this, is that it just looks like this, right? Now Figma has released this whole ability to go through these pages, but before you used to just see the cover of something like this. So I've already got this in my recents. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out here. And we could start here with a base for this kit. So you could publish it on your theme or just bring these right into your project. So notice here, he's got a ton of icons. He's got a ton of all sorts of things here. So if we'd like, we could literally just come in here and grab an icon out of here if we like this style. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and try for a different style. So we're gonna go ahead and just start with a book icon. Now, in my On the House one, I actually did this already. I started some icons. So I put it in components here, and you can see my little icon library. I created each one at 24 by 24. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that over here. So I'm gonna start out in the same way. We're just gonna start with one icon. I'm gonna start drawing that icon. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the background color right now for that and zoom really close in. Now we did this in a really strange way. We had masking and all kinds of crazy flexing. I'm not gonna do that. In this case, we're just gonna say, this is our books. We'll have a couple of icons here. We're gonna have a feed, and we're gonna have a book icon. I like the idea of starting with the books icon because it kind of all centers around that. And I wanna establish an aesthetic. So we'll just put books here. This will be my books. Maybe it's my bookshelf. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on this 8-pixel grid. It is already on. You can see the visibility, the little eyeballs on. So that means my grids are off. So let's go ahead and just turn on. You can do that with Control G, turn on our layout grids. That's an 8-pixel grid. I'd also like to turn on my pixel grid. I like this combo. I like this combo of having an 8-pixel grid. That's these blue lines, and then the pixel grid here. So I can kind of have both working for me. Now we may wanna look up some inspiration for books. Or just draw them from memory. I think we're just going to demonstrate this here. Now we want to look at our inspiration one more time, and let's make sure that our snap to grid is all on. Snap to pixel grid is on. I want to go look at this inspiration. I really want to nail that style here. I really love these. So this is by James McDonald, and I love this. It looks like little ink traps, and I really want to capture that aesthetic. I love the simplicity of the icons, but I love the fact that we have these little ink traps up here. So we want to create one of those. I really, really like that a lot. I really do love two-tone icons, an icon that has one main dominant color and then another color, and that's exactly what these are here. So this is a two-tone icon. You've got this main purple, and then you've got this subtle shade as well. Now remember, we're trying to do a strictly black and white one, so I would imagine our two tones would look like black and gray. So we can do that. We can also cheat a little bit and maybe do some kind of a black and then like a warmer gray, or like pull back from black just a bit, and maybe not design in pure black, but design in like an almost black with just a little bit of brown in it, just to get a little bit of warmth in the app that still kind of registers to the eye as this is black. Sepia app, I love it. Gina Marie as, I mean, it just, yeah, I mean, it could work. Once again, I don't think, as much as I want to demonstrate this, and I'll go ahead and do it real quick for you, how you might create something like this. Let's create this little folder icon. I want to demonstrate how you might create those little bulby looking things. I think that's very, very cool. But as designers, you can also vote with me and just say like, I really want it to be kind of like bulby like that. Let me know what you think. All right, so we're just going to go into vector editing mode here. This is how I would just go about creating a folder icon. I just start drawing. Just start moving things around. Don't get scared of that document. Get in there. All right, and then I would turn the stroke on. That was kind of dumb. I could have easily just hit Shift X, boom, and it swaps the fill and the stroke. I actually found out that Illustrator does exactly that as well, which is pretty cool. We don't have a black. I'm gonna go ahead and create a style now. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Oh, typical thing I gotta do when I start. I gotta go to my assets library, and I'm gonna just turn off all these things. I don't need any of these colors. No, don't like them. Don't want them. I don't want anything crowding my judgment here. So I'm gonna call this. I'm just gonna call this black or dark. Maybe it's just dark or primary dark. We'll just call it primary. Wow, that took a long time, but I got there. And for now, we could start with black, but what I was talking about is you can get into more brownish territory here and sort of bring this over here. So it still registers mostly as a black, but it's a little softer. Noodle Carry asks, what is the name of this app? Last time we named it on stream. So I have a great idea. Let's go ahead and go to like the, let's go here. Let's go ahead and name this app. Now I'm going to do this here. We're going to crowdsource this app. We're going to call name this app. All right. We're going to make this pretty big. Now I'm just going to put a comment bubble right here. Let's talk amongst ourselves. Talk amongst yourselves there on the chat. And then once you feel like you have some cool names, go ahead and just plop them in this comment. You'll see that bubble right there, and you can just thread them all the way down. Let's go for it there. I'm gonna keep on designing because this is my favorite part of design. This is when I get excited. This is when I get to lay down lines and start creating a vision for something that is maybe more unique, that's got my touch on it. This is where I get to be a designer. Okay, so maybe it's got some rounded edges on it. This is the key here, corner smoothing. This is where you're gonna get kind of some of that more bulby look. Notice, let's go ahead and crank up this to 2. I'm gonna get in real close so I can show you what's happening here. With this corner smoothing, you can see how it goes about it. And what you might notice is that this looks a lot like iOS icons. It's a more natural radius. It's a little bit different in the way that it's expressed. It doesn't look like a perfect circle. So you can use that to create that interesting kind of bulby look. Now, of course, it doesn't perfectly bloat out like you think it will. So another way that you might actually go about making this folder icon look a little bit more bulbed out. And this is one of the things that I fell in love with when I started using Figma, is that I could come in here and select these things and just crank that border radius, and it just does everything. It's so smooth. It just like works it all. I remember to create something like this before, I'd have to be an Illustrator and do like an expand filter on it, or like a pucker and bloat, and it was just so difficult. Like, look at this thing. I'm already like seconds away from being done with this folder icon. And it's already got that feel and that look that I wanted. The other thing that I love about Figma is that on these border radiuses, it's not just one big border radius for the whole thing. It is, I can independently change those, because on the inside crook, if that's a word, of this little top folder tab, I don't think I want it to be as loose and as big a border radius. So there's kind of a way that we could create that style of an icon. Of course, we can come in and select these 4 independently by me holding Shift, and I can add another one in there for border radius just to give it a little bit more of an accentuated look. Okay, if we need that file, once again, no problem. I don't think you have the permissions to be able to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and throw that on in there. Okay, so this is not our book icon, but that was a really cool, thank you for saying that was really cool. That was a really cool demonstration of how we might use those. I don't think that we're gonna be able to use that aesthetic style, but hey, if we get enough votes and y'all really love it, cool, we can go for it. Uh, let's go back here and let's see what we've got for names. We have nothing. All right, great job. Okay, one thing that's some inspiration is this little book, this open book icon. Let's go ahead and get that one made and let's finish it. We're gonna end this stream today with finishing this icon. And it's ironic that our two icons might actually literally be list and book. Wow, I am slightly amused at that. Okay, I'm just gonna round those radius. And we can use inside. I always like to try center. I've ran into this thing, and I'd love to communicate this to the Figma team, but when those radius get so big, it ends up actually messing with these edges. So a fix for that is to just pull that back just a bit, and you can see if I just go in there one by one, when it hits the point where it goes too far. That's a no-no. You don't want that. Now, you might be looking at this being like, whoa, this sucks. Look at this little overlap. I could definitely fix that by going back to the inside here. And let's try that. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab this and duplicate this over here. But now we have like a double border in the middle, and I knew that was gonna happen. So what we're gonna do here is just take this object, hit X. I'm gonna double click to get into this object here. And I don't know why it's a little bit off. We're gonna go ahead and try to line this thing up perfectly there. Oh, got it. It expanded. Okay, we're gonna have to work with this just in a unique way. So when I pasted this in and it had a border radius on, as soon as I went into the vector editing mode, it expanded that for me. So we're just gonna take that off right now. And we're gonna go back in, paste it in. I want to take advantage of Figma's vector networks. And you can see exactly what happened. As soon as I actually brought this over here and I connected it, watch what happens. These are two separate vector objects. The second that I connect it, we resolve that issue because it's actually connected those in one vector network containing 3 points. And that's something very unique to Figma. It's a very unique ability that they have with vector networks. And it's rad. It's rad as hell, and I love it. If you can actually harness the power of that, it's very cool. I would love it if we could actually change up. Maybe we can actually use a border cap on this to be able to get past that glitch. I don't like that, but for now, I don't know what to do. So I can also hold this thing and scrub it. So watch, if I go this way, you can see the point at which I can scrub it and it actually works okay. I'm not sure why that glitch is happening there. That's not too fun for me, but that still works. Now, if we're gonna do a two-tone icon on this book. Nicholas says, oh, I thought it was never that hard to make a simple icon in Figma. It's not, it's not, but I'm also trying to demonstrate a few different ways. But yeah, totally. That is funny though, very funny. Wondering if we want to go rounded on those edges. Not quite sure if that's what I'd like to do. We'll just put in 0.5 here and just see that. It is soft, but I'm thinking that we want to, yeah, it's a good joke. It's totally a good joke. It's actually a little incriminating. It's like Rogie takes 15 steps to create an icon that somebody else can create in seconds. And I think I like the idea of maybe just putting a line down here, maybe just like the base of the book, maybe. Let's just try to add it to the vector network and see how it behaves. How does it behave when we go inside with that line? I do like the inside appearance more. Notice now with the vector networks, the inside works, which is great. I think, yeah, I'm not sure if that's gonna be our ticket. All right, so then the next step would be to find a way to create those little ink bleeds and those ink traps. So we're gonna go ahead and just assign this to that color. And I'm gonna take this object and I'm just going to copy it and paste it. So I have two of them. And I'm hoping the way that we would put an ink trap kind of a thing here is by changing that there. This one's gonna be a little bit more complex to pull off that specific one. So we may have to wait till I have another meeting coming up. So we may have to wait till our next stream. Let's try outside. One thing that we could do is if we're locked in, this is one way to fix the problem that I was just working on. And it just occurred to me is actually we can go to object and we can go to flatten the selection. And what flatten selection does is says, hey, just make it a vector. Don't worry about all the special properties in there like the border radius, and then it should just work. And then we should be able to add a little curvature on there if I would actually copy paste correctly. See how that works? It's a little bit better. Let's see how it works on the bottom one. We'll have to mess around with this on the next stream, see if we can really nail that aesthetic. I'm not sure it's gonna work for everything. So anyways, this is where we're gonna stop today, mostly because it's Maker Week at Figma, and I'm super excited about that. So no more live streams for this week, but I'm gonna come back strong. We're gonna have these icons and hopefully a way to demonstrate that ink trap kind of a thing. And then we're gonna jump right into the whole visual design. I'm hoping to bust through the visual design and I'll have components already of the feed, the list, all that, the books. Maker Week is a thing at Figma where we get a week off of normal work to do something of our own choosing so that we can just make something cool and awesome. And so I cannot tell you about my project, but I'm really stoked on it and I get to work on it all week. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you all so much for coming in, watching the stream. We will fast forward a bit on this. I'm gonna try to bring you all back in another way that's more interactive, in a way that maybe you can help me and we can start working on screens together. I'm really trying to figure out how to do that with every new live stream, is harness the power of Figma and everybody working together and just saying, hey, take care of this. Hey, could you do this? Hopefully we'll be able to do it. We'll see. Will it be a dumpster fire? Find out next. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm off to a meeting. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Happy designing. We'll see you later.